Okay, so I got to watching something about Starship Troopers, and then I rewatched the movie, and basically it made me have thoughts about a sequel. No, Columbia is currently trying to think about a sequel. Here's what you should do, Columbia. I'm literally telling you, this is a good idea. This will make money. Uh, you get like 30 dudes, and like 12 of them are dressed up as your Space Marines. And they are a squad of fucking Space Marines out in the thing, right? And maybe we'll have bigger shots of like large groups of people dressed as Space Marines to fill in for more people in like marshaling areas or something like that. That is easy enough to work out. But you have the main premise of the thing be that this fucking 12-man unit is going on some fucking hike into the woods to go someplace. Doesn't matter where, why. Long ass fucking walk through the woods on planet P or wherever the fuck it is, and it's a jungle or very very dense vegetation. Think like the jungle that they go to find mangoes in Apocalypse Now. Like they've run into a tiger 4 feet in front of them and they don't see it until it's there. Imagine fighting those bugs in that. Imagine the horror added of not seeing those things, except for the big fucking talons that, you know, take Jimmy and rank him into the woods, which is why you need the other 30 fucking guys or whatever. Because you're going to need cameramen and you're going to need men to be the bugs. And you should make your Space Marines pretty fucking hardcore. Like, these dudes are dudes that are wearing fucking, you know, 20 teeth apiece from whatever these things are and necklaces on their fucking necks. So it's a big deal when one dies. It's unexpected. The first half of the movie, none of them die. That would be what I would tell you. Maybe even the first 3/4. Lots of this movie, nobody dies, but yet they're in constant combat with these things. Like you see guys get pulled off or whatever, and then like they come back, and like there's blood on their fucking uniform, and they're like marking hash marks on their shit because whatever they are, they're worse than whatever's dragging them off. Okay, like think Master Chief. That's what these dudes are. Maybe it could be that. Maybe it could be an advanced unit of these guys in some power armor, or not even in power armor. Like the way I would do it, because this has to be on a budget, right? Look at uh, Aliens Space Marine armor, and look at Dread armor in the reboot. Look at you know modern ballistic vests and shit. Some fusion of those three things is what I would go for the look of your fucking Space Marines. And you could do this at Lowe's, Home Depot, and a fucking tactical gear store pretty easily. I could build the fucking costumes for those dudes. As far as like the bugs, I think we could probably even do those, to be honest, because if we had someone who could do even the tiniest bit of CGI, you make the bugs out of wood and foam and paint, and all you need to do with CGI is black out people, basically, because you'll make the jaws of the thing or whatever, and it'll be coming out of shadow, and it'll be puppeteered by a couple of people probably. But that's all okay because it's just going to look black on screen when we get done. And a whole bunch of this movie could be shot from a fucking GoPro on, the team leader's shoulder or someone else's shoulder. Like I would have vast stretches of the movie be POV from one of their shoulder cams. I would have interludes of, you know, you are watching Recon Team 6 live in action on Planet P. This is the network of, that kind of shit. Like commercial interruptions, just like Paul Van Hoven stuff. Because, like, you can do that shit easy, easy, easy. You get some dude that looks like a Nazi in the face and hair and haircut wise and a suit. You put him in a suit behind a desk, and you have him. He's the like party news dude, interrupting in with whatever on the commercial breaks, and then we'll like go and shoot some interlude shots of like fucked up shit. Like kids killing bugs is an easy one to redo. Like it's easy to get kids and bugs. Like there's a bunch of these things. Like we could fucking CGI a cow getting shot with a bazooka, and claim that that's some new weapon against the aliens or whatever. Like there's lots of things that we could very easily do for very little money. Like there's already CGI cows. It's not that big of a deal to like put one into frame and make it explode. It's just not that big a deal. That's where we are technology wise. And that frees up some of this. This is what I'm describing here is a movie that could legitimately make money. And I haven't mentioned a single big budget effects shot yet. In fact, all of the shots that we would do of masses of soldiers and shit, we would make our space commandos or whatever, obviously really badass looking and whatever. We'd have a basic bitch uniform, be a whole bunch of people in basic bitch uniforms on a fob base. Exactly what they did in the original movie was put up fucking pop up tents that were gray around a baseball diamond or some shit and like paint some shit. They didn't do much to make the fucking base camp things for that movie because Paul Van Hoven was very much in the same vein as me when it comes to filmmaking, in that it's a fucking movie. It doesn't need to be real. It can be a tent. And you can say it's a building and it's made of sci-fi materials. And you know what? People buy it because it's gray and aluminum is gray. Welcome to movie making 101. This is like the big lesson that Hollywood needs to learn, is that there's some things where you shouldn't spend any fucking money at all. And there's some things where you should really spend some time, money, and effort. And what I would do would be to make a film focused very little on the individual and focus very heavily on the squad as a group of men that rely on each other to live. And I would have not everyone die in this movie. I would have several of them die towards the end, like 3 or 4 of them, because otherwise you won't set yourself up for sequels and whatever. But like there needs to be real stakes. There needs to really be people dying. And even like if you wanted to go with a horror-ish movie and have people being pulled off into the darkness and dying, well then maybe only 4 of them walk out. You could think up whatever mission you want them to be on. It's a suicide mission. Obviously, they're walking out into a fucking jungle full of bugs. I think this is actually a pretty decent idea for a movie, though. As far as weapons for them, in today's day and age, again, CGI, all of the gunshot effects in John Wick, the first one, were CGI. Everybody loves that movie. We do the same thing when we take fucking airsoft guns or whatever and dress them up to be Space Marine rifles. Pick AR-15s. I would. If you want to know what my vibe for the looks of their rifles would look like, go look at my KE Arms builds. Something along those lines. I would give them ARs and I would dress them up to be something different. And then as far as a handgun goes, maybe someone's gonna have to pull out a handgun at some point. We'll talk about what that could be. But my Flux Raider is kind of meant to be that. This is where having a few real live fire guns is a good thing, because we can save a whole bunch of money by just shooting real bullets into a hill too. There's going to be a bunch of effects where like we have to do fake effects or whatever, but there's a whole bunch of shit that like we can just use live ammo and live rifles, and it's just myself and the actor that's firing the gun, and we're the only ones even there. That's what you can do when you shoot a thing like guerrilla style. I wanted to do that. It would be such a badass movie, because basically, what do I really want to see on screen. Space Marines. Do I give a fuck if they're aliens or not? No. This is a property that, like, if you made a 2 or 3 minute version of this and put it on YouTube and sent it to them, I don't know. I would kill for the opportunity to just do the costumes on that movie. That's really what I should do. I should fucking apply for a job in the costuming industry. I'd be good at that shit. Especially for all like the military shit. There's so many movies that have military equipment in them. I don't know. Anyway, what do you think of my idea for a Starship Troopers sequel? Um, there's, a lot of details would need to be worked out in this thing, but I think this is the route that you should go with this because it's low budget, low risk, and if you make kind of a cheap art film that is Starship Troopers and actually scary, it will make money. And you can use that money to make more Starship Troopers movies that have better plots. But this is a good way to test the waters. And it's a good, like, this isn't like, oh, this is the best Starship Troopers movie ever made. No, this is like, this is the cheapest version of this that you can see on screen. And sometimes cheap is good. Sometimes cheap shows you why you love a thing. And it's kind of like Jaws. Jaws is one of the best monster movies ever made, and you barely see the fucking shark. I need a Shark Shack. When they were making Jaws, Steven Spielberg, John Milius, and George Lucas, and a couple other people would hang out in the Shark Shack where they were building the fucking animatronic shark. And John Milius, the guy that wrote Red Dawn and a bunch of other shit, he would stick his whole body into this animatronic shark and go, Jaws! It would reverberate the shark. And for some reason, that just sums up to me about everything that we love about movies, or at least that I love about movies, has something to do with someone in that room I just mentioned, really. Because there were a couple other people there. I think Martin Scorsese was one of them, a couple others were like, while he was making Jaws, they were fucking around in the Shark Shack and drinking beer and smoking pot every night. Like, literally a list of the people who've ever made your favorite fucking movies. I think that's why Jaws is partly the magnum opus that it is because really after Jaws, it's not that those guys didn't hang out anymore, but it's that their lives started getting bigger and bigger and more separate, and they didn't get to do that as much. And this is why there's this streak in the 70s through the 80s where like they made gold because they were chilling like that all the time. And that when you chill like that as a creative, you're bouncing ideas off of each other. And when the people that you bounce your ideas off of while making Jaws include George Lucas, John Milius, and Martin Scorsese, and fucking what's his name? The guy that made The Godfather. Made The Godfather and Apocalypse Now. He was in that same group of people. I forget his name. He was a little older than that group. He founded a his own motion picture thing that really got a lot of those guys I was just talking about off the ground. He was Zoetrope. Wish I could remember his name. He's a cool dude too. But all of that to say that I think the reality of Hollywood is that they only make money when they actually accidentally get a group of us together and we go do fucked up shit. Those of us that write, those of us that paint, those of us that make things. That's what I love, regardless of whatever it is, whether it's drawing, painting, fucking making guns, making knives, whittling. I don't care what the fuck it is. I like making things. And I like to talk to people that do it. And I wish that Hollywood would invest $5 into the sorts of shit that actually make a creative endeavor happen instead of pretending like no one in business ever fucking does anything but sit in an office and go home and jack off to the Sears catalog or whatever the fuck it is they do. I don't know what it is they do. But like one of the main things that I see wrong at the moment is there's a culture of like drug people that have taken over fucking Hollywood. And you might be like, "Well, you're pro drugs." Not as much as they are. Like I like weed and I like alcohol. I think pretty much everything else probably should be illegal in reality. And like that's not a very libertarian way to be, but like there's a few other things that should be okay to do, but like most of the rest of them, like I don't see making them fully legal being a better thing. But those people that want all the drugs legal also want all the borders open and all the fucking Republicans rounded up and killed and lots of other shit. They're kind of funny. They just want control. And I like Starship Troopers because it shows them for what they are. Starship Troopers is the future the Democrats want. Starship Troopers want a future where you and your children continue to die in foreign wars for their benefit while they have to do nothing. This is the lie that is America. It's the lie that is the world, really. We've let this lie be perpetuated to such an extent as to where most of y'all don't even live in the real world anymore. I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of someone that lived in the year 1607. You still live in that same world. Okay, and my point with that is basically that all of those things that you would have been concerned about in 1607, why aren't you concerned about them now? Because of modern science and the government? See what I'm saying? I'm kind of figuring on living fast and dying young because the idea of dying old in a nursing home sickens me. If you want to understand me, I would encourage you to go watch the movie Legends of the Fall. It pretty much sums up my politics. I don't see there being much of anything in the world really worth living for, except love, really. So, maybe I find someone that it's worth spending some time here with, but short of that, like, why would you want to grow old alone? Live fast, die young, you know, get reborn, live again. Should really do a video on that. Do you believe in reincarnation? I guess that really changes your opinion on many of the things I'm saying. Decide whether you believe in reincarnation or not, and continue to watch the shows. Thanks for watching, and see you guys next time.